Hey viewers, this is random stuff with Alex Hughes, and I think today I'm going to talk about trying to rip out the roots of the weeds in my head. So what I mean by that is I remember watching a Mark Freeman video many years ago, actually probably about 3 years ago, talking about how in order to really basically get over your anxiety, you have to rip out those roots. And at the time, I didn't really understand what he was talking about. I was because I was wondering like what would be the roots of my anxiety? Like where did all this start and how can I rip those roots out to the point where basically it never grows back because it's like a weed. Once you take out the roots off the ground, then it can never grow back there. Maybe another, seed comes in, but the old roots, they're gone. And so one of the fears that I've been trying to work on for the last several years is this idea of certain intrusive thoughts. At least what I used to label it a lot, and still kind of do, are just really just thoughts that come into your head that you kind of react to, that you get disturbed by, right? Because you're like, oh my goodness, why do I have this thought of violence or these graphic images? And then you react to it. And for me, when I was a kid, when these thoughts came into my head, I reacted to it because I was scared. I was like, why am I having these thoughts? And I automatically assumed that it made me a bad person, that I'm a bad person because I have these thoughts. I'm going to do these actions. As a kid, that's what you believe, because your brain is your own, right? I mean, I can call my head my own, and you kind of claim your thoughts as your own. And so when you have these kind of scary thoughts in your head, certain images flash, visualizations, or these can be graphic, right? I mean, I feel like if I probably never watched any of the media that's around nowadays, with all the violence and explicit content, then my subconscious mind would be a lot different. But because I put a lot of actually I didn't put, when I was growing up, I was watching all these really violent films, and especially when you think about horror films, and within the last probably 40, 50 years or so, the films have really gotten more and more graphic. And that's actually something that has happened. And because I just took a film class where, the censors fell. And so that allowed movie creators to really put anything they wanted in their films, whether or not the content you know, um, was moral or not. It didn't really matter. It was basically what would sell. And audiences were probably tired of, being shunned out. They wanted to see something that, was being restricted to them. You know, and so as a kid, I grew up with watching all these violent films and a lot of freedom. Honestly, what I could watch on TV, and even TV, there's a lot of this type of content. And so I think that was already growing in my head, the seeds, the subconscious mind, and I was very fascinated, almost obsessed with horror films as a kid. And then, in addition to that, already developed some anxiety as a kid, and it was an anxiety that I had, like with thoughts. Actually, it was kind of thought based, to be honest. I was worried about, what would happen when I go to school and being anxious on the first day of school and reacting to those thoughts. And they were always thoughts and feelings, that I was reacting to. And the topic of the thought was always, different. So it could be about, for example, the first day of school. You get jitters and there's thoughts that come into your head about, oh, what if I embarrass myself or something like that. Or for example, I'd always worry about um, timeliness and like what if this paper doesn't get signed, because as a kid you're like, here, this is a paper you need your parents to sign, and sometimes it would take a while, and I would, all these thoughts in my head, like what if it never gets signed, and the fear and whatnot. And the way I always reacted is I reacted, basically. I didn't really second guess my thoughts or question my thoughts. I just thought, oh man, I got to react to something in my head, even though it might be completely garbage. And so that type of mentality has followed me. And I think that's what led me to even more and more anxieties because I kept reacting to the thoughts in my head. And so as the thoughts became more or different, diverse, I would react to it accordingly. I wouldn't second guess it. I wouldn't question my thoughts. I wouldn't be like, why am I reacting to this? Why am I even worried about any of this? I wouldn't say that because, I wasn't mindful. I wasn't practicing meditation or mindfulness or any sort. I was watching TV, playing video games, playing around with my toys, um, yeah, doing the normal kid stuff, staying inside by myself a lot, and so that probably didn't really develop my social skills a lot. So, yeah, I would say it was a perfect storm, and so that's what the roots are, and that's why I've been looking back at, these beliefs and perceptions and reactions that I've accumulated over the years as a kid. Because as a kid, you don't really question a lot of what you learn, and that could be very bad. If you learn a lot about anxiety, and you're always scared of things, and as a kid, you're reacting to fear in negative ways, then if you never change that as an adult, it just follows you into other moments of your life, and that's why I've noticed, my fear of certain things, whether it be dogs. I've been afraid of dogs. Um, I'd say it probably ever since I was bit by a dog, my own dog, and so that's followed me even to 19, 20 years old. And spiders. I was scared as a kid, except for daddy long legs. But some of the spiders, and even to this day, I'm a little hesitant around them. Black widows. Those kind of scare me, and it could be certain situations. Public speaking for a while followed me even into high school. Um, other other areas I would say would be maybe like younger adolescence, because it reminds me of a time when I was in middle school when I was, I guess, bullied, and so that kind of, even as an adult, 21 years old, it still follows me because I never really changed the way I reacted to my reality. And in order to really change your life, you have to go back and think about your perceptions and your beliefs and how you're reacting to the world around you, because that creates your own reality. Because the way you react to things every single day, that's how your life's going to be. If you react to things in a negative way and you perceive others' actions negatively, like, oh, people are out to get me, I'm a victim, society, uh, treats me differently because of the way I look. That type of victim mentality is just going to affect your reality. That's how you're going to perceive everybody's actions, because that's the lens you put on yourself. That's the lens that you've developed over time. And it's easy to develop these things, especially when there's a lot of things in the environment that are planting seeds in your brain, in your subconscious mind, that maybe you're not as consciously aware of, but it's just there in the back. And so that's how it grows, and that's how it really affects your whole reality. And so that's why you have to be aware of the way you're thinking every day when you wake up. What is in your mind? What are you thinking about in the back of your head? Is it a song? Even songs can influence your emotions, right? If you're thinking about songs, romantic songs, and lustful songs, a lot of rap music and hip hop, and even just pop music, then that's going to affect your kind of mind state, because maybe it's you're singing in the back of your head, and then all of a sudden you're visualizing somebody, and then you create a story in your head, and then your mind becomes attached to it. Or it could be thinking about your to-do list and how much stuff you got to get done today. And so it could be like you're taking a shower, and you're all of a sudden you're in the back of your head, you're thinking about how much stuff you have to do, even though you haven't even started the day yet, but you're thinking about it, and that's creating kind of tension. And so we have to be aware of what we're thinking about on a moment to moment basis in order to create a reality for ourselves that we want, and to really take control of our lives, because your mind can run all over the place. And that's what happened when I was a kid, is that I never realized that I could control my thoughts or really my emotions per se. And so that's why my thoughts run amok, and they would go to all sorts of negative, disastrous thinking. And I didn't realize that, and that's why I reacted, and that's why to this day I still have some remnants of that. And so that's why I'm going to destroy them, and I'm going to rip out those roots and do whatever I can, because I want to create a reality for myself that's positive and that really works for me. And no longer will I have those negative thoughts that have really controlled my entire life. And so it's definitely been a journey, and it's just been interesting how much those negative thoughts have really created my reality. And if I can switch that around, I can realize that my positive thoughts can create my reality as well. Because it's all about how you choose to think. You have a choice. It's just you have to become more and more aware through mindfulness, meditation, different uh, breath practices, and being aware of your thoughts. And once you become aware of the thoughts, then you can start to realize how much those thoughts have an effect on your reality. And then, just like with any other choice, then you can make the decision. Do I choose to react, or do I just move on? It's your choice. And so that's something that I was kind of thinking about today. Um, I was thinking about that. Just I just keep repeating it to myself. Keep reminding myself whenever I get distracted that your thoughts create reality. You can choose your thoughts, and the way you choose your thoughts creates a reality, right? What you choose to think is going to color your existence. And so that's what I kind of think to myself on a daily basis, just to keep reminding myself, because if not, I'm just going to slip back into subconscious thinking and thinking about how much I got to get done today. Oh, I wish I could be a part of that community service. Man, what are these people thinking about me? Do they think I'm homeless? How much stuff do I need to buy? I wish I had money. All this yada, this chatter that just goes on 24/7. And it's all about you. You can control your thoughts. What am I going to think at this moment? And so that's a little piece of advice. Um, so I was just trying to look at the camera, but yeah, that's a piece of advice for you guys, and I hope you guys have a great day. And this is Random Stuff with Alex Hughes, signing off.